Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. It's your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of it. And it is our first report after day one of training camp. Veterans reported today, did conditioning, took their conditioning tests. They're going to be in shells for the next few days. We'll start getting full contact later on this week. So it is finally here. Everybody is there, minus, of course, one, pretty significant player. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Actually, we'll get to it right now. Terry McLaurin did not show up today. Not sure how long this holdout is going to last. And I'll be the first to tell you, I thought this was going to be done by now. I thought at the very least it would be done this morning and Terry would be there, but he is not. So it looks like both sides are going to kind of, see who blinks first, I guess. The good news is, even if the front office does decide to play hardball, McLaurin has to show up eventually. The reason, well, there's a couple of them. Number one, he's being fined $50,000 a day. That'll add up pretty quick, even when you're making, $14 million or so like he is this year. But the biggest reason is because if Terry doesn't show up, let's say he, decides, well, I'm just going to hold out all year. That means his contract's not going to accrue. That means he doesn't have the year he needs to get to free agency. So he's right back in the same position next year. Also, don't forget, the Commanders actually, in addition to this year, have 2 more years that they can have him under his control without any kind of an extension with both a franchise and a transition tag. So I expect it's going to get done sometime here within the next week, maybe 2. Of course, I thought it was going to be done well before now. But remember, the Commanders, the front office needs him too. Terry is, one of the cornerstones of the franchise. He's a load-bearing wall. He is a guy that you need in the building and you don't want as a distraction. And as you can see, we're also going to talk about him in the third segment, and I'll tell you why. For the Commanders, they need to get him into the building as fast as possible. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn did talk today before conditioning started. That was the first thing on the schedule today. Again, AP, obviously, first question asked was about McLaurin. And what AP said, I think, was important, saying that everybody in this building values Terry very much. This is a quote. And we knew that coming in. We knew that even more after spending a year with him in terms of where we're at. We've had conversations recently. We will look back and we will look to have some more conversations, and we're going to do everything we can in order to get a deal done. So, again, we said last week when Terry had his press conference that, he didn't say anything that couldn't be walked back, that, crossed some sort of a bridge of no return. Same thing with Adam Peters today. Says he wants to get a deal done, is being diplomatic and extending the olive branches so that hopefully at some point in time, we're going to get a deal. And again, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. Peters also not wanting to comment about President Trump, saying he intends to at least think about holding up the stadium deal if they don't change the name back. He was very, very diplomatic about that. And Dan Quinn had an interesting quote. Great question somebody asked about what he hopes to see second-year players, on what he hopes to see second-year players make a jump. And he said, I guess about 10 rookies or so that were on the roster, maybe the 53 either at some point last year, at some point or most of the time last season. That's pretty traditional. You see it happen. So this spring, he said he saw a big jump in minicamp from Ben Sennett, from Johnny Newton, Jordan McGee, and others, he said. Now, it's interesting that he said those 3 because those are 3 really big X factors on both sides of the ball. Newton is going to be counted on to take John Allen's place. Jordan McGee counted on to become a young, up-and-coming linebacker. They knew they were thin there last year. That's why they drafted him and didn't really address linebacker either early in the draft or in free agency. They are expecting a lot out of Jordan McGee. So that's a guy to keep an eye on there. Now, back to Terry, because I do want to talk a little bit more about him. Why is it important for the front office to get him back in? That's because without McLaurin in this lineup, that wide receiver room gets a little suspect. Deebo Samuel is coming off an injury. Noah Brown is coming off an injury. Luke McCaffrey, they're hoping he makes a jump this year. That is not, that's not a given. Michael Gallup is trying to make a comeback after a couple of years out of the game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have, a lot of experience or a lot of dependable players after Terry McLaurin. Now, granted, he is one of the, 10, 15, 20 best in the league, and you count on him to be your number one. But, the other guys, without him there as the linchpin in that wide receiver room, makes it a lot easier to cover the other offensive weapons, like Zach Ertz, like Austin Eckler, Brian Robinson, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's not, a given that the Commanders can just say, hey, we're just going to play hardball and make him stick to his contract. It's not that simple. I think all of us know that. So again, that's why we're going to see this play out here over the next couple of weeks. And Sam Cosmi, we got a little bit of an update on Sam Cosmi today, and it's pretty good. Dan Quinn said he's doing great, had a strong offseason. We're not going to miss one step of his recovery along the way. He's already hitting all the markers that we had and that we set and that we had hoped to see. So that's important because if they can get Sam Cosmi back any earlier than, say, the end of October, that's just a bonus. When he does come back, that makes that offensive line really, really deep. Again, we have talked about what we think the starting lineup is going to be along the offensive line all year. Once he comes back, it's Tyler Biadasz at center, he and Brandon Coleman at guards, and then Laramie Tunstall and Brandon Coleman and Josh Connerly Jr. at tackle. Sorry, been a long day. And then, filling in at depth, then you've got Andrew Wiley and Nick Allegretti playing backup roles. Again, that's how important it is to get Sam Cosmi back. The fact that we're here talking about him having a really, really, really good offseason and a really good rehab is a very good sign. That is going to do it for us today. They will be out on the field tomorrow for practice. We're going to have actual practice news to talk about. Can't wait for it. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe button. Drop a comment if you care to. We will see you again tomorrow. Remember, like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, you wear white.